and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hey you guys, what's up? It is Mira and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It has been a while, yes I know, I've been traveling and busy and blah blah, all the other stuff. But we're just going to jump right into it. Now, as you read by the title, we're going to do another story time, and this time it's about my American Airlines horror story. So to start things off, I have flown with American. I've flown so much throughout my entire life. There's only like so many airlines you can pick from, and American I haven't usually had too many problems with, but this time it was kind of like let me just tell you what happened. So Ben left early July for some training, so I was going to leave right after him and go home to visit and go on some family vacations and just like use up my time while he was away. So I was going to leave on Friday night, which was the 12th, because my birthday was that coming Sunday on the 14th. And I was like, okay, I get to go home, get to see my family, get to celebrate my birthday at home so I'm not alone. And I was just all ready to go. Had all my stuff. My flight was supposed to take off from Dulles International Airport at 7 p.m. So my good friends drove me and dropped me off at like 4 because I like to have a lot of extra time, especially at those bigger airports. So I got there at 4, got checked in, got my ticket. We were supposed to leave at 7. And I was supposed to go Dulles to Dallas, Dallas to home, because that's how American Airlines goes. So I got there, and I don't like flying in general. I just have really bad anxiety, so I was like, I don't it was taking a lot for me not to just turn around and go home because I didn't want to get on the flight. But got myself on the flight at 7, and well, we boarded at like 6:15 because we were supposed to take off at 7. So we like boarded, and I'm the type that I like to sleep right when I get on the plane because I don't like flying. So I fell asleep, and like an hour later the person next to me nudges me and wakes me up, and they're like, hey, and we're still on the ground, and I'm like, are we already there? How long was I sleeping for? And they're like, they're telling us to deplane. And I was like, okay. So we got off the plane because apparently there were technical difficulties, so okay, it happens. And they said, give us like 30 minutes and we're gonna try and figure it out, and then if we can fix it, we'll go. If not, then we'll have to get you guys on other flights. So by the time everyone gets off and everything, it's like 7:38. So then we're sitting there, and they said 30 minutes, but it was an hour. An hour, they come on, and it's like 9 o'clock, and they're like, okay, so the flight is canceled because the plane is not working. There's technical difficulties that we can't fix, so we're gonna try and get you on another flight, but like all the other flights were booked, and I had already missed my flight to go back to Grand Junction. I was supposed to get into Grand Junction at like 11 p.m., but at this point I already missed my connection. So they said there was another flight that was a red eye that would take off at like 12 or 1 in the morning, and everyone was trying to get on that, but it turns out that the flight crew coming in, they couldn't make the flight because the flight crew and everyone has a certain amount of hours they can work, and they can't like overwork them. So that flight was also canceled. So at this point, they're telling everyone to get like they're lining everyone up. Everyone's at customer service trying to get like vouchers for a hotel and getting their flights rescheduled. And at this point, it's like 10:30, and no, it was like 9:30 or 10, I don't know. It was late, and I was like, okay, I just want to like I just want to go home, because at this point I was like, yeah, I'll just go home, forget it, I'll come back later. But I was like, no, I don't want to spend my birthday alone. It's already like really late Friday night. So I finally get up to the customer service line, and the guy helping me is all giddy. He's like dancing, doing his thing, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm glad you're in a good mood, but please focus, because I don't want anything else to go wrong. So basically he says, we are putting you on a 9 a.m. flight from Ronald Reagan International Airport. So here is a taxi voucher. You're going to go to the, I think like Hyatt or Hilton by Ronald Reagan. You're going to spend the night there, and then you're going to wake up tomorrow. You're going to leave Reagan at 9 a.m. and then your flight from to Dallas, then your flight from Dallas is going to depart at 2 p.m. and then you'll get to Grand Junction around 4. So at this point, I'm like, okay, this is fine. And by the way, throughout this whole entire fiasco, my parents were camping without service. So I'm trying to call my mom because my mom always books my flights and she's really good at stuff. And I'm trying to get a hold of her, but the service is awful. So like, we're trying to get all of this sorted out. And I told her that I got my other flight and that I should be in on Saturday evening, and she said, okay, well, we'll be home from camping by then, and we'll pick you up. And I'm like, okay, great. So I go downstairs, get my checked bag, and hop in the taxi. So the taxi ride is like 45 minutes, and I'm like, okay. So I get to the Hyatt, and I get in and I show them my free hotel voucher for the night, and the front desk guy goes, you're at the wrong hotel. And I'm like, it's like 11:30, almost midnight, and I'm just like, okay. So I just grab an Uber. Thankfully it was like 5 minutes down the road, got to the right hotel, and the guy texts me and he's like, okay, so the shuttle to Ronald Reagan leaves at 7:15 sharp. Do not miss it because the next one won't be for another hour. My flight was at 9, and I was like, okay. So I wake up, get down there at like 7:03, 7:05 because I want to be early. And I get down there, I get some sleep, I wake up, and he's like, you missed the shuttle. And I'm like, no, it was the same guy. I was like, no, you said it leaves at 7:15. And he was like, no, 7. Next one won't be here for an hour. And I'm like, so I grab an Uber, tell the Uber, I'm like, I'm running late. He was great, got me there super fast, took all the back ways. I got to the airport, plenty of time. All I have to do, because I have my ticket with my name on it that says 9 a.m. to Dallas. So all I have to do is get my bag checked and then go to the gate and I'll be happy. Well, I get in there and I go to one of the self-help kiosks and I like scan my ticket to get my the tag for my luggage, and it's like not working. So the lady comes up and she's like, you need to go to the customer service line. Now the customer service line, like all the little maze they put you through, that whole thing is like filled. So the line is way long, and I'm like, I don't have time. I have a flight I have to catch. So she like fast passes me, and I get to the front, and the guy is there to help me. And I'm like, so what's going on? It won't let me check my bag, blah, blah, blah. I have the ticket, here are my tickets. And he goes, no, right here on your itinerary, it says your flight left Dulles at 7 a.m. this morning. You're at the wrong airport. And at this point, my stomach just like, and I was like, no, this ticket right here, like it says, it has my name on it, it says 9 a.m. and he's like, well, it's showing you're not on this flight. And I'm like, well, you better get me on this flight because you guys canceled the other one and I got, all this stuff is going wrong, so now what? So basically what he says, he's like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna check your bag. So my bag was checked for my original flight, and then he says we're gonna put you on standby for the 9 a.m. to Dallas. And if not, here is a ticket. I had a ticket with my name on it, seat number, flight number, everything, for a 2 p.m. flight from Dulles to Dallas. Then once I landed, because I had that seat, so if I were to have to take that flight, I'd land at like 4-ish, and I'd have to wait till 10 p.m. for my flight to Grand Junction. So I was like praying I got on the 9 a.m. flight, because then I could make, because I also had my 2 p.m. flight out of Dallas still, so I could have, so if I made the 9 a.m. standby, I could get on my 2 p.m. to, from Dallas to back home. And I was like, okay. So I'm sitting there, and the 9 a.m. flight gets called, and it's full. And I was number 1 on the standby list, completely full. And I was like, great, but I still have my 2 p.m. flight. So then they're like, here's what we'll do. We'll get you on the standby for the 11 a.m. flight, the next one out. And I was like, okay, awesome. So they get me on this first, number 1 on the standby list, and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to my mom. Meanwhile, out of all of this, I made a total of 78 phone calls to my mom and dad because they were camping and we were trying to coordinate. And I think a total of like 8 went through to both of them put together. So this whole time my parents were coming home and they were gonna drive home from camping, but they wouldn't have service, so they stopped in a small town outside where they're camping, and they spent like 2 hours there. Like, my mom was on the phone with American and they were just so much help, and I was so thankful for them. But what ended up happening is I was on the 11 a.m. and also if I got onto the standby for the 11 a.m. I would have, odds are, not made the 2 p.m. connection. Like, there's almost no way I would have made it. So then I still would have had to wait until 10 p.m. So I'm basically screwed altogether. So then it was a complete shit show. So the 11 a.m. flight is completely full, completely booked. Everyone made their flight and I was like, okay, great. Now I just have to wait until my 2 p.m. and then wait until 10 p.m. But I was like, I don't want to do that. So I called my mom and she was like, well, it looks like there's a flight at 6 p.m. from Dallas to Montrose, which is like 45 minutes away, 45 minutes away from home. And I was like, okay, try and get me on that. So my mom, I'm sitting there waiting for my 2 p.m. flight, and my mom calls back and she's like, Mira, are you sure you have a seat for the 2 p.m. flight from Reagan to Dallas? And I'm like, yes, I have my ticket, my name's on it, my seat number, everything. And she's like, well, they're not showing that that's you, so go up to customer service. So I get in the customer service line, go up, and she's like, yeah, I don't know why they put you on this flight. This seat isn't even reserved under your name. So I don't even have a seat on this flight, because my mom was going to try and book me on the Montrose flight, but since they can't book me all the way through unless I have a seat on another flight, which apparently I didn't. So at this point I'm in tears. I am angry. I feel like throwing up. I'm like, this sucks. So it's like 1 o'clock or like 12:30. And I'm like, my parents told me to talk to customer service and tell them, like, you just have to get me going west. Like, I don't care how, but it's your requirement to get me on this next flight, because it's not like I missed my flight or anything. This is on you guys. So you are required to get me going some way that direction. So she says, here's what I can do. I can get you on a 2:15 p.m. flight to St. Louis. And then you have like a 10-minute connection there to Dallas. And then you can make when you land in Dallas, you can make the flight to Montrose. So I'm like, great, do it now. Like, just book it. So I get my tickets and everything, and I get over to my gate to go to St. Louis. And remember, I have a 10-minute connection in St. Louis to get to Dallas. It's my flight to Dallas. So I get there and I'm like calming down and talking to my mom. I'm like, thank you. And then they come on the intercom and they're like, hey, the flight to St. Louis is delayed 30 minutes. And I'm like, fuck. So at this point, I'm about done. I'm texting my mom. I'm like, I'm going home. Like, this is stupid. I'll spend my birthday alone. I just want to go home. So the flight finally gets in and we board and we actually make up time, and we land in St. Louis, and they put me first class, thankfully. So I was one of the first off the plane. So I sprint. Thankfully, it was like we landed at like gate 16 and the flight to Dallas flew out of gate 19. So I like sprinted and got there right before they finished boarding, and I got on that flight. And then I had a short connection in Dallas too. So I landed in Dallas. Again, I was towards the front, so I was the first one off, and I had to go to a whole nother terminal. So I was like, shoot, okay. So I made it, and then I made my Montrose flight, and I got home, and my parents were there to pick me up, and this was at like 8 at night. And I'm like, great, this is awesome. And then I was like, wait, my bag. But my bag was already in Grand Junction because it was on the flight that I was supposed to be on. So I was like, okay, we'll just get my bag tomorrow. So we're on our way home, a 45-minute drive, and I get a notification, and it says, hey, we see that your flight got changed to Montrose, so we're gonna send your check back to Montrose. And we're like, no, like, intercept it, like, blah, blah, blah. And we called them and stuff. We were like, no, leave it there. We'll come get it tomorrow. Like, no, don't send it over here. So thankfully they didn't, and I woke up Sunday morning on my birthday and my bag was there, and everything got sorted out. I'm just thankful I got home in time for my birthday to see my friends and family, but like this whole thing was just one complete shit show. And like everything that could go wrong went wrong, and my mom was just pissed, and we're still trying to get a hold of American to see if we can like figure something out with them, because this was all just absurd. And it was like all of this just to get home, and I was just a mess the whole time. But thankfully I made it home safely, and it made a good story. So that is my American Airlines horror story for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you never ever have to experience something like that. I will be posting again soon. I'm going to try and post more. I know I'm not great at it, but I'm going to try, and just I hope you guys got a kick out of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.